Harbor Safe Haven program. Is that right?
Yes.
I think I said it right. And I had a chance to visit with Krista probably about, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Yeah, so, and it was a wonderful facility, and you're doing a great work over there. Tell us all about the Susquehanna Harbor Safe Haven.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Susquehanna Safe Haven is a men's shelter, and it's unique in that we service men with a mental health disability and chronic homelessness. So there's no deadline or timeline that the men can stay in the facility.
That's good.
We help them with goals and housing and jobs, different things that we can.
You know, I wasn't as familiar with this particular offering, which is an excellent, you know, program and everything. But you try to keep it sort of down low, is that correct, in terms of how it's operated?
Yeah, because our clientele has a mental health diagnosis and different issues, we try to stay directly out of the public eye just so that they can, you know, feel secure that they're getting the services without, you know, having the stigma of mental illness put on them.
Now, how long has this program been here in the community?
2009.
2009, that
When it
long.
was,
Right.
you know, when they opened the doors.
Sure.
Yeah.
How great of a need is it? I mean, you know, I noticed that you were pretty full. the day I
Yeah,
was there.
we've
Yeah.
been full for the year that I've been the program director. We can house 25 men. The need is definitely there, not only for individuals with mental health needs, but the homeless population in Harrisburg alone.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Nate was sharing with me, though, that they have an opportunity. I think there's 2 levels. People can come in just for homelessness, and you have an area that they can, especially during the inclement weather, the winter and stuff. But then you have people that actually have rooms that they can rent for a certain period of time.
Yeah, well, our program has three
3.
different levels,
Okay.
basically. We have the dorm area when individuals are just coming in off the streets. They don't
Right.
have to have income or anything.
Right.
When they do receive income, be it Social Security or working, they can move upstairs to a private room. And, you know, we charge them just 30% to stay in the room. We still provide dinner for them, and they have cable and internet
Right.
and everything. In the winter, we have hazardous weather. And we open up the other side of our shelter to house 23 to 25 individuals. They just have to come, line up. It starts, I think it's December 1st through March 1st. And we can, you know, house them through the winter months, hazardous weather months.
Yeah. You know, the men you mentioned, they have to have that diagnosis, that mental health diagnosis. So do they have to come through a particular unit like CMU or something like that, or how do they get to you?
A lot of our individuals do come through CMU. It can be self-referral. They can stop in, they can call. I've even faxed and emailed applications. Once you fill out the application, I review it, and we try to do an intake interview. And then once we get to that point, once we have the opening, we just set everything up with documentation and all that just to get them in.
Just to make sure. And I know this is a tough, you know, population to work with and everything. So, you know, the local community, are they supportive of the work you're doing? And is there a way that we could better support you in terms of the needs of the men?
The local community is always good with us. When we have our fundraisers and different things, they come out. Luckily, we're a part of Christian Churches United, so, you know, we're affiliated with a lot of good churches and organizations. The Help Ministries on 19th Street. So when our individuals are ready to leave, we can just get them over to Help Ministries, and they help with rent and security deposit and things like that. CMU helps a lot. We have to get most of our guys linked with that just for referrals and just support in the community, because a lot of them have stayed away for so long.
Sure, sure. What's the youngest you've ever had in the facility, and how young can they be?
They can be 18 until. Our population is a little bit older. They're like maybe 30, 35 plus. We've had some younger guys in. They're a little bit more motivated, so they come and go fairly fast. Yeah.
And let me just ask you this, I don't want to get political, but you think so many years ago when they closed the state hospital, did that really put a more need for individuals having to have a safe place and somewhere they can go?
I think, now with my population, it could have played a role in that. I think that just overall, the breakdown of the mental health system in Dauphin County in general has led to that.
To this?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a vicious cycle where, you know, if they're not, their mental health needs aren't taken care of, they're more prone to go to prison. They're more prone to be homeless. Drugs and alcohol. You know, it cycles around.
Are you seeing all communities, all racial backgrounds, all ages? I mean, not ages, but you know, incomes coming into your facility?
For the most part, yeah. We incomes is usually zero when we get them. We're getting them after our definition of chronic homelessness is at least out for 12 months, if not longer. You know, so a lot of them have zero income when they come to us, and then they're applying for Social Security, and when they feel safe and stable, they're looking for housing and looking for jobs.
Yeah. You know, you often wonder, are most of your men local, or do they come from surrounding areas, or is it a combination of such?
It's a combination. We have maybe a half and half split.
Okay.
You know, a lot of the guys have come to this area because Dauphin County is known for having good programs to help with Bethesda Mission. You know, they have that program to help them, and then once they complete that program, you know, they're still in limbo a little bit, so they end up coming to me.
I was surprised. I did, you know, work 10 years with United Way. I was surprised to know that a lot of our more rural areas don't have these facilities and services.
Yeah.
So they find a way to Harrisburg, is that?
Yeah, exactly. And we're actually looking into that with the Homeless Coalition to put shelters in rural areas, and even somewhere as close as like Upper Dauphin. They don't necessarily have this services.
So, you know, they probably have family members, and do you often wonder, like, what's the disconnect? Is that the families just can't seem to handle, you know, their particular needs, or what happens there?
A lot of cases, the individuals have gone through some sort of trauma. Yeah. And it's usually family related, if not drug and alcohol, and the family has to distance themselves from them. But we encourage with Mr. Art, who also works at the facility, we encourage the men to reach out to their families, their children, whoever they can, just to build that connection again, if it's repairable. I know that a lot of them go to counselors and therapists in a community that, you know, if it's a goal that they want to connect with their family, we definitely support it. But a lot of our guys come in with no connections to anyone. None. Yeah, they're just they've been by themselves for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been at Safe Harbor now?
I've been here for a little over a year.
A little over a year. Okay, that you got started. And your background, how did you get involved with this?
Well, before this, I was the program director for a homeless veterans program.
Oh, all right.
And I had a lot of different counties. I didn't have Dauphin County.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted something local, so I wasn't driving most of my week away. And I seen, it actually wasn't a position when I started working with Christian Churches United. I was just doing part-time case management over at Help Office. So when this became open, you know, I met with Daryl, the executive director, and you know, he said, I think this would be a good fit, and I tried it out, and it's been a good fit.
It's been good fit
so far. Yeah.
Contrast the population you used to work with, who are the homeless veterans, and the population you're working with now. What do you see as a difference?
Homeless veterans, because their mental health needs are a little bit different from the guys I'm servicing now, I was more outreach with that. Like, I would go to camps and I would go under bridges just to make sure that these guys knew the services that the VA offered them. And I had a lot of vets didn't think they were even veterans because they never went to war. So it was a lot of, that, and they were pretty far gone. But this population, they know more of their services and how they can get help. It's just a disconnect when they go off meds or any life crisis that they get derailed.
You know, when I visited with you that one day, I asked you the question. I said, well, do you ever have issues with the men, maybe being disruptive or physical or anything like that? And you said, no, pretty much they're pretty, cooperative and all of that. But that's the image that I think a lot of people, the general public might have, that, these would be really difficult people to work with. But that's not what you find all the time, is that right?
Not at all. They're very humbled, because we offer them so much. And again, a big part of our name is safe. We provide them a safe environment. And they're very respectful to me. I work shifts by myself all the time. I'm never, it's like a big dysfunctional family at Safe Haven. You know, they all get along. The biggest argument we have is over a remote. You know, when they can't agree which game to watch or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're peaceful. You know, they're just trying to maintain and get to their next level in life.
Good.
But you know, one of the things you had said, we talked about mental health and some of the things that may not be in place that needs to happen in this county. But I think it's across the country.
Yeah.
In regard to some of these things we're hearing so often about individuals with mental health crises and not being identified and not getting services. So there's something in the whole system that's not really coming together well.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's all the way from the way hospitalization is treated, what is a crisis. You know, you can, we had an individual that was in my opinion, severe crisis. He wasn't getting out of bed, he wasn't eating, he wasn't bathing. And I'm calling the agencies, I'm like, can we have him hospitalized? Like, he needs a jump start. He needs to have his meds reevaluated. It's not okay to sleep your life away.
Absolutely.
You know, so even that, it was a little backlash where, well, he's not a harm to himself or others. Well, he is. He's not getting out of bed. That's not okay.
Yeah, that's a harm to himself.
Yeah, that's a serious harm.
Right.
So it's stuff like that that still needs, I think, evaluated, you know, to provide better services.
But I think we have there's a stigma associated.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
a stigma. I am proud that it's at least being talked about now.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
especially in African American community. It's not the, oh, they're crazy or oh, this and that. It's being talked about. You
Definitely.
know, men have depression. Men get sad. Men need to go to therapy.
Right.
You know, it's with my population are like, oh, you know, the phrase "man up."
Yeah.
If it was that easy, we wouldn't have
How about
Thank
that?
you.
these issues going on.
You ever have family members, though, you know, some of them are fathers, I'd imagine. You know, did you ever have family members try to find them or try to intervene or help in any way? Or is that pretty much just a foregone conclusion, is severed now?
Well, we have had an individual who pretty much burned his bridges with his son.
Okay.
And, you know, you could tell that it bothered him because he would always talk to me about his son all the time, whether it was baseball games or if he's seen
Right.
pictures of my children. It was always coming up. So I said to him, have you tried to call him? And he goes, I don't know what to say to him. I said, well, you know what? Wait till his birthday. Call and just say happy birthday
Right.
and see what happens. And he called, and they're still talking to this day. It's not all the time, but at least they're talking. He went 14 years without talking to him.
Oh my goodness.
14
So,
years.
yeah, and now I think they just call like on holidays.
Days
and
and different
yeah.
At least they
vacations.
call.
Yeah.
I'm also intrigued by the gentleman who didn't get out of bed. Did he eventually get up out of that bed? Well, how did you resolve something like that?
I
you know?
fought, and I went to the ER with him,
Okay.
and
Okay.
we got him inpatient, and his meds changed, and he is looking for a job right now.
Okay,
Fantastic.
wonderful.
Yeah, he goes to CareerLink every day
Okay.
looking for any type of employment. So
Yeah.
he's doing a lot better.
Yeah, you know, people want to, we saw a video long ago where it talked about the throwaway
Yeah.
men, something like that. And this gentleman had gone through the same type of cycle. And he was basically making the point with his, you know, documentary that too often we just push those folks aside. And we don't think they have a voice anymore. We don't think there's anything, you know, your facilities where they need to be and that's it. But that's not it, because they're always going to be part of a community. Isn't that right?
Yes.
One way,
yes.
shape, or another.
Right.
And they have to thrive to want to be a part of that community.
right. Yep.
And, you know, and at my facility, I really appreciate that there's no deadline. Like, it
Yeah, I
isn't
like
6
that.
months and you have to go.
Okay.
Sometimes 6 months on a med, you don't know how it's going to make you feel.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's
they
right.
can do med changes while they're here. They can get as stable as they need to before, you know, they feel comfortable going back in the community, because it's reintegration, basically. They
That's right.
haven't been a part of the world around them in a long time.
So there are a lot of 501c3s out there, a lot of organizations. I know that you mentioned the churches come in various ways. So what service would you love to see come into your facility and provide something for the men that's not currently happening, that maybe someone out there is, you know, watching this program and they might think, hey, we could do that. You know, what things are missing?
Missing right now is a real connection with the men. Not that we want a big group to come in and host a barbecue or anything, you know,
Right.
but just to build a one-to-one connection with maybe 2 of my 25 guys would be
Like
great.
mentoring or something.
Mentoring,
Yeah.
or even just a friendship.
Yeah.
You know, they tend to isolate, and the only individuals they talk to are mental health professionals, be it myself, my staff, or therapists or doctors. You know, just to have a regular friend in the community would be good for some of these guys. And then we have needs as great as the upstairs. When an individual moves out, we'd like to be able to provide like a welcome package so that they could take with like a broom, a mop. You know, they're moving into their own house. They have to learn how, you know, remember how to maintain it, I hope. And then a church to adopt a room, or any organization. When the individual moves out, we have this blank canvas of a room. Let's, you know, make it a little bit more comfortable for the individual moving into it. So
you actually showed me a room where a gentleman, I think he just kind of moved in, and you said the church came and painted and did different things. It was great stuff. So that's something that can be done for the persons who are watching this program. If they're a church or a civic organization or, you know, social club would like to do something, here's a wonderful opportunity.
That's a good event activity for a day of caring.
Wonderful day of caring. Do you know about day of caring through the United Way?
Yeah.
So that might be a tremendous thing that you know they can do. I also like the idea of the mentoring or the buddy, you know, piece, where there are so many different fraternities and other organizations around, and men's group within churches, that maybe each man could come in and, you know, match up with another man as much as possible. Become a friend. You know?
And that would help them moving out. And if they needed to just call a friend, and you know, I always tell them when they leave, they can definitely call me. But I don't know how much advice I can give you when you're on your own. So having a male point of view would be really, really big help.
I'd like to encourage you to contact, or I'll have the two of you meet the director of the program, and they're located up on Derry Street. And Pat used to be a part of the board when it was the program for female offenders. Now it's just simply called the program. And they have a mentoring program like this. So, and, you know, I'm actually, you know, hoping to be working with them in the very near future here, where it's a sort of a buddy system, and you kind of, you know, check in with the men, you call them, see how they're doing, give advice, all that stuff. So that's a program that's already existing, so maybe the two of you could kind of talk and, you know, match up. Because it's all about helping people.
That's right.
So this is good stuff.
That's
yes,
what it's
indeed.
about.
They say it takes a village, and it really does, not just for children, but, you know,
for all of us.
to keep the community safe and sound, you have to look out for each other.
And one of the sad realities, and you mentioned it earlier in our conversation, is that oftentimes when the men or anybody goes, you know, unconnected, they may end up in the system. And the system can be very unkind, you know, to persons who already have a mental, you know, illness, and it just becomes a revolving door. So we can eliminate that if we give them, you know, the kind of work that you're giving them, and then some, you know, aftercare. So, and that's really up to all of us, not just, you know, your staff. How large is your staff, by the way?
I have 10 staff.
Oh, 10?
Yeah,
All
10, because we're 24/7, so we have 3 shifts, and you know, it's only 2 full-time individuals, myself and Art, who's the case manager assistant. So Art and myself help with all of the goal work and connecting individuals, and my staff is really excellent, be it cooking meals all night for them. You know, they prep the dinner for the next day, or giving them advice, or just a connection, like a peer type connection. But because we're staff, we have to, you know, uphold boundaries and stuff. So that's why I would love for an outside group to help.
And I got to say, Art's a great guy. And is it okay to say his last name?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
sure.
Art Miles. That's my man. Art does good. And I think he's a perfect match for your you know, population. He has that perfect temperament, and he knows what he's doing. And he shows a strong male presence as well. So this is a good guy. And
he has a passion for helping.
You can tell.
And it shines right through him.
That's
So.
right. And he's also
really
done work
does.
at Bethesda Mission, I believe.
Yes, he works there at night.
Oh, he does work there as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Art's a good guy, and that's what you need. You need the right fit. You need
That's right.
Okay. So you have a staff of 10. See, Art told me he was the only one doing anything.
No,
I'm joking. I'm just
Sometimes.
but that's good stuff, though. But okay, so, and I was also surprised when I saw your facility, because there's no markings or anything there either. And so, and that's done purposely, right? So, because you just want to give people their privacy and confidentiality and all that.
Yeah, and I don't even, when the guys ask for letters to take to employers or anywhere, you know, I'll ask them, is it okay that it says safe haven? And, you know, because then that becomes a conversation they have to explain.
Right.
So we try to keep it as anonymous as
So how do you get the employers then to look at your clientele in a different light? I mean, are they, first off, have they been open to your clientele? And if so, you know, what works for them? You know, to be able to hire your men?
I think a certain level of compassion has to come through when I do the interview. Just a strong sense of wanting to help and seeing the potential in individuals. And when I interviewed the newer staff that I have, it was shining like a bright light out of them. You know, they got the vision, they wanted to help.
Yeah.
You know, they see these individuals as having a hard time right now, but they know there's potential.
Absolutely.
But you said you asked the person, you know, your client, whether or not it's okay to put safe haven on there or not, because do some employers, you know, shy away from, you know, persons who have been in this particular situation, or have they been more helpful?
A lot of times, like, I've made really strong connections with local temp agencies and local warehouses, because we're located right by the state farm show, and there's the whole, you know, street of warehouse work back there. So I've done my duty to go out and meet HR, you know, that if you need help, I have at least 5 to 6 individuals that are looking for work. I can't guarantee they will get here on time, but they will be up to be at work. So it's advocating, you know, and I haven't gotten any rejections because they're from Safe Haven, but you know, if they read that, I don't want that to be the reason they're turned down.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And I would hope our community is educated enough in this area, you know, especially with the returning population, which we call people who are coming out of prison these days. In fact, I'd imagine that your men have a multi-layered needs. Some of them may be coming out of prison, right?
They can be, because we serve the chronically homeless. They would have to be homeless for a little bit once returning from prison, but a lot of our individuals have backgrounds.
I remember down at the farm show they used to have, I don't know if they still do, it was a big homeless, what was it, like, conference?
Conference, yes, most certainly did,
it was really well done, I thought. But did you ever, I know it's been years ago.
No, I wasn't in the area. I just moved back here a few years ago. So as far as what they did, with homeless, I worked in mental health before I moved, but since I've come back to Harrisburg, that's when my professional shift towards homeless and, you know, that population happened.
So you're originally from Harrisburg?
Yes, I'm originally from.
You did tell me that. Which school did you go to?
East High.
Okay.
I'm originally from here.
East Side, that's right.
East Side,
And we have to mention that your mom and daughter are over here.
Yes, they came to
So I'm gonna tell
support.
you right now, right before the show goes off, I'm gonna have you come over and stand behind us so you can say, look, they both shaking their head. No, you know you want to come over and be on this.
It's the least they could do.
The best they can do to support you.
Most definitely.
So many people are so shy on the cameras.
It's
But you're beautiful, though. So glad that you're here. Thank you for coming to support your daughter.
Have you had any long-range plans in regard to getting a larger facility? Have y'all been talking about that at all, the Christian Churches United or anything?
Christian Churches United, Daryl, I know they're in talks to maybe have a shelter open in the West Shore. Possibilities of stuff like that. He's also started a network, I'm probably going to mess up the name, but it's Compassion Action Network, and it's a lot of different organizations come together, and if someone has donations, you know, you make a phone call and it can be dispersed to different places where they need to. So he's started that a few months back.
How is spirituality handled? The gentlemen come in, I'm sure, from all different types of backgrounds, but how do you handle their spiritual needs?
Well,
go to
because
local churches or anything?
well, we encourage, you know, for them to go to whatever service they prefer, whatever denomination they are. Because we are partnered with the food bank, you know, we have certain guidelines that we can do, but I just encourage them that if, you know, you're used to praying over your meal, do that before you come out, or say your silent prayer, but as a whole, we can't do it, but we definitely support whatever spiritual background they have.
Very good, okay, very good. So churches, I know some churches are involved, and they come in, do they actually offer like Bible studies, services, or they pick people up and take them to service? What exactly do they do?
We have a few churches that the individuals are members of, that Sundays and I believe Wednesdays, the vans come and pick them up. We also have an in-house type of, we call it Bible review. So it's, you know, ran by the members of the house, and they meet every Wednesday for that.
The coming and goings of the men, are they able to just, let's say I just decide I want to go out somewhere, or do they have to have certain hours? Do they check in, check out, or how is that done?
They can come and go as they please during the day. We do have curfews though. For downstairs individuals, it's 10. Upstairs, it's midnight unless they're working. They can request passes and stay overnight wherever they want. It's like their own home. We just need to know a little bit,
Yeah,
so I'm
sure.
not calling around looking for individuals. So.
I'm just asking questions I think the general public might want to know. So, for example, do some people have vehicles, or do they have bus passes, or how do they get around?
They a little bit of both. Because most of them have disabilities. They utilize the CAT transportation. The bus comes and picks them up. We have a few individuals that have their own personal vehicles, and there's a bus stop at the end of our block, so they use that also.
I'd love to see one day, maybe, and maybe it already happens every now and then, local barbers just come in and cut hair for free.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to start that, because they have a program like that in Philly for homeless haircuts, I believe it is, and he's doing really good work. And I think it'll be great
Definitely.
for
I
that.
like that too.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of a guy who is a very good Christian man in the community and hires a lot of people, and he may just be up to that. I'll say a word to him.
Thank you. That would be great. Yeah, we tried that, and I also work with I have my personal trainer, Brent Mosley. I had him come out, and when the body heals itself. So when you're healthy and you look good, it helps a lot. And not that medication doesn't, but we try to help them in a full circle every way.
Excellent, good stuff, great stuff. Well, I know we're going to run out of time very quickly here. So, for persons who just maybe want to just talk to you and get to know more about how they can help, how can they reach you?
They can give me a call at the office. The number is 717-232-5029.
Okay.
And myself or my staff can answer any questions. It is a process. It's not just a drop in, I can move in next week. You have to fill out an application, and we have an intake interview, and then we go forward.
Okay. So again, that number is 232?
717-232-5029.
Fantastic. Well, I sure hope that the community will respond and assist you in any way they possibly can. It's about the men. You have about, what, 24, 25 men?
25.
25 men at any given time. So a great need for our community. We hope that you will help out the Susquehanna Harbor Safe Haven. Those are our family members, and we got to do all that we can do to help them, and I know we have the will and the spirit to make that happen. I want to thank again Krista Farah for coming on. She is the program director, and we know that you're going to do all that you can do to make community better. So have yourself a great day, and remember, help somebody along the way. We'll see you next time on Life Esteem. Goodbye. Thank you, Krista.
Thank you.